There's one problem that every videographer faces, and that is, how do I store terabytes and terabytes of footage all in one convenient place without buying dozens of external hard drives? The answer to that is this, the UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus. And I've been using it for about 6 months now to back up all the footage and photos that I shoot. So what the heck is it? Well, this is a NAS, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it stands for Network Attached Storage. That might sound intimidating, but it's actually really simple. Basically, it's like having your own personal cloud storage, except it's faster, it can be bigger, and you're not paying a monthly subscription for it. And of course, you can access it from anywhere because it's in the cloud. Later on, I'll walk you through exactly how to get this set up and connected. But first, let's take a quick look at some of the tech specs of the DXP4800 Plus. This allows you to store up to 136 terabytes. That's insane. To put that into perspective, across all my current drives, I've got about 65 terabytes of footage that I've been collecting for the past 13 or so years. And that's all split up between about 10 external hard drives. Now, with this one NAS, I could of course store all of that and even double that amount without having to juggle a big stack of hard drives, plugging them in, trying to figure out where that old wedding is from 10 years ago that the client is now asking for because they lost the footage. Technically, to max this thing out, you'd need 4 30 terabyte hard drives plus 2 8 terabyte PCIe cards. And yes, that's a serious investment up front, but think of it in the long term. You may never need to buy another drive, at least not for another decade, depending on how much you shoot. Now, of course, that's maxing this thing out to the limits. You do not have to buy 30 terabytes each to make this useful. You can do something as simple as 4 terabytes each, which is what I have in there for right now, so a total of 16 terabytes. Now, of course, you could do whatever you want. It's going to be mostly limited by your budget. If you were to max this thing out, 136 terabytes equals 47 million photos at 3 megabytes each, or 92,000 movies at 1.5 gigabytes each. That is a mind-blowing amount of storage. Another thing I really like about the UGREEN NAS is this supports a wide range of hard drives and SSDs, and they keep actually updating the compatibility list based on your user feedback. You can choose the hard drives that make sense for your workflow and budget. You're not locked into some proprietary drives you have to get. Let's look at the build quality. The housing on this is a super solid aluminum, definitely built like a tank. It looks really sleek and great on your desk or wherever you want to put it. Normally, mine is actually downstairs and my office studio space is upstairs, and I'm just of course connected to it over the network. But to show you what it looks like here for this video, I'm actually running just a really long Ethernet cable about 100 feet downstairs to where my router is, and I've got it all plugged in. But I'm gonna power it down really quick so I can actually show you what the drives look like. Now that it's powered down, I'll show you just how simple this is to use. So on mine, it has 4 bays. They have a few versions. They have 2 bays, 6 bays, 8 bays, but this has a ton of space just with 4. So you could just click in on this little bottom button, and you see how this hinge just pops out. And then I'm going to slide this tray out. And just like that, you can actually see the hard drive. This is a HHD, so it has a spinning disk with a tray. It doesn't write as fast as an SSD, but you can use SSDs in this. You could put all SSDs in this, it's gonna be just like smoking fast. But I found that with the normal spinning hard drives, it's already plenty of speed for me. So this is what that looks like. You've got all your normal SATA connection points here on the back. The tray itself is all made of plastic. There really isn't any metal pieces on this, but it's not really necessary. The most durable thing here is, of course, the hard drives inside. So I want to show you just how easy it is to pop each of these out. You need to swap out a drive and you want to just put this into storage. Let's say you fill up one of these with a project. Maybe it's like a giant wedding or something. You're like, hey, that wedding's done. I'm done editing that, but I need to back it up. You can pull this drive out, go archive it, go put it in a closet somewhere where it's temperature controlled, of course, and then you can put another drive in here. Of course, there is going to be some differences there. If you're using these all in RAID, that's going to mess with your RAID because it's actually backing them up to different ones. There's a bit of nuance to doing something like that, but just know that it is possible for you to just actually switch out these drives once you fill them out. Now, unfortunately, when I got this pack, one of them was not working properly, and that is my drive 4. So I don't actually have anything on drive 4 right now. Normally this would be 16 terabytes of total storage. I gotta send them another email and see if I can get this switched out, but I've just been lazy and haven't done it yet. They go back in just as easily as they come out. So you just slide it in like that and then click it down. And I'm gonna make sure that I put them back in the correct order, 4, 3, 2, 1 here. Now, obviously you wouldn't pull them in and out like this on a regular basis. Boom. And there we go. Everything's clicked back into place. Let's take a look at the back of the NAS now. There's just a couple simple ports here. Of course, we have the power connection, Ethernet connection, which is plugged into my router. Then you have 2 USB 2.0 ports and a USB 3.2 port. And one more really cool feature on the back here is actually this metal plate. This pops off, it's magnetic. Mine's got a little bit of dust on it. That's exactly what this is for. It's a dust cover because the fan, of course, you can see is pretty massive, is used to keep this thing cool when you're actually reading and writing off of the drives and they start to really heat up. This keeps it nice and cool, and this prevents them from getting really dusty. Let's take one more detailed look at the front here. There is a full-size SD card port. So if you want to actually import your memory cards directly onto the NAS, you can plug in here. That would probably be an instance where your NAS is actually on your desk with you instead of, off in another room. There's also a USB-C port and another USB 2.0 port. That USB-C port on the front can be used to plug directly into your computer, so you could run a USB-C line between them, and then it'll show up just as a local drive. It'll mount as a local drive on your computer. Now, I normally wouldn't want to do that because I want the full cloud capability of this being fully networked. Also across the front, there are a couple LED lights here, and they actually mean different things depending on how they're blinking or looking. I've got one that's kind of this amber orange blinking light, and that's because my drive 4, like I said, is corrupted and not working right. Otherwise, the rest of them are all white and they're working as expected. Now, like I already mentioned, if you want to be able to access your files from anywhere over the internet, you'll want to plug this in to your modem or your router, depending on what you have, and actually plug it in with the Ethernet cable that it comes with. Getting this all set up on your computer is pretty painless. You just download the UgreenNAS software and it walks you through the whole process step by step. You'll have different options for RAID configurations, which in simple terms is how the system distributes and copies your files across drives. If one drive fails, your data is safe on another. And the trade-off is storage efficiency. For example, RAID 1 makes copies of everything, but it cuts your usable capacity in half. That's what I've done. It just means that if one of these hard drives, heaven forbid, has a failure, that same footage is backed up on another drive. You don't have to do it that way. There are a bunch of configurations and it walks you through all the different possibilities. Even though doing a RAID configuration does mean less total storage available for unique files, it does help me sleep better at night knowing that my client projects have some redundancy and I don't have to worry about losing anything. Let's talk about why using something like this is so powerful in a real workflow. One of the biggest advantages is multi-user sharing. Let's say I'm on a shoot. I can actually connect to the internet and upload the footage to my NAS remotely. And then an editor can start editing that. They could be editing from Canada, and get everything that they need. So it's pretty amazing. It's all my own little ecosystem where I can just immediately back up cards even if I'm not at home. I can also generate a simple link to share files with clients or collaborators and editors instantly. And what's cool is that it even integrates with Google Drive using the Cloud Drive tool. So you can upload and download files between your NAS and Google Drive. Here's another huge one for creators like me. The NAS supports multiple RAW formats from mainstream cameras. So if you're shooting on Sony, Canon, Nikon, your RAW stills will work just fine. No converting, no being unable to actually open a RAW. And access is also multi-platform. I can grab files on my Mac through Finder or someone else's PC, on my iPhone or iPad using the UGREEN app. It really feels like one universal media library that's just custom for me. Now, one test that I ran was speed. I uploaded a large video file to the NAS and compared that same video file side by side, uploading to Google Drive to see if there'd be any speed difference. And the NAS actually did a good job. It uploaded even faster than loading something to Google Drive, which is huge because you don't have to wait forever. Now, the software also has some really neat features beyond just storage. They have something called the AI Album Assistant, and it can actually analyze your photos automatically and organize them by people and places. And you can even keyword search to quickly find shots. It's a smart way to just manage a huge photo library without manually going in and tagging everything. Now, of course, you don't have to use this if you don't feel comfortable with it going in and analyzing all of your photos. Now, there are a few different ways that you can access the file. You can use the UGREEN software on your computer, and it kind of launches like a remote desktop. It looks like its own little PC essentially. And you can go in, move files, copy files, delete files, etc. But for me personally, I like it to have a much more native feel. So I really only access the files through Finder. And in order to do this and have it actually show up in the sidebar is really easy. You just open Finder, click on Go across the top, and then all the way at the bottom, click on Connect to Server. And here's where you'll need to type in the server name for your hard drive that you gave it. So it'll be SMB:// and then the name of your server. I can navigate right inside of my Finder now. It feels like just a normal hard drive connected to my computer. Okay, let's be honest though, there are a couple downsides to using a NAS. The first one is the setup definitely takes longer than just plugging in a blank hard drive. You're going to need to actually format it, set RAID levels, and kind of get familiar with the interface and how it actually works connecting to it. It's not very complicated, really basically anyone could do it, but it does take more work than just plugging in an SSD. And like I already mentioned, I also don't really love navigating the files inside of UGREEN software. I really prefer the Finder integration, but once I got that set up, it basically solved that problem for me. And overall, the benefits of using the UGREEN NAS massively outweigh needing a bunch of external drives. Let's talk about pricing. The UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus, which I have here, sells for about $550 US at the time of recording. And that's just for the unit, just the housing. You have to buy all the drives separately. But of course, how much you spend on that depends on how large of drives you can get. You can get smaller 4 terabyte ones like I have currently, or you could go all the way up to 30 terabyte ones, which if you look up the prices, that does get a little bit expensive. But when you compare what it would cost to build out a NAS versus buying dozens of external hard drives to fit the same amount of storage, this is an absolute steal and a great investment. And right now, to get an even better deal, use my discount code below to get 20% off your purchase. The UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus really lives up to the tagline that they have for it, being your secure and cost-efficient storage. It gives you massive capacity, faster performance, and the flexibility to work from anywhere. And I want to say a special thanks to the guys over at UGREEN for sending this out for review and sponsoring a portion of today's video. I saw when these came out at NAB in Vegas a few years ago, and I was stoked. I was like, I've got to get my hands on those. So the day has finally come, and I absolutely love it. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe right now and help me get to 100,000 subscribers. Please, we're so close. We're only a couple hundred away. All right, I'll see you in the next one.